Good evening and welcome to the SYA webinar on financial aid and scholarships, just to make sure you're in the right place. We're really happy to have everyone here tonight. I've got my colleague, Donna Fitzgerald, our Associate Director of Admissions and Financial Aid, who's going to share some important information with you, and I'm going to share some information with you as well. This is always a great webinar. We always have great attendance at it, and there's a lot of information. If your questions do not get answered, we have a little bit of a program for you that we will share information, and then we will have a question and answer, and you can put your questions in the chat box at any time, and we will answer them at the end of the program. So financial aid and scholarships. These are the two forms of financial assistance that support that we have for our students as in the form of financial support to support them through the program here at SYA. There are two pieces to that. One is financial aid, and that is an entirely need-based program. Those are all in the form of grants. We do not offer loans. Donna's going to take us through the instructions on how to apply for financial aid. But financial aid is, like I said, it's all done through grants. We have always have more applications than we're able to meet the need of. But if we're able to offer admission to your child, we will, and you are applying for financial aid, we do meet 100% of your need, demonstrated need through the SSS formula. Those of you who apply for financial aid in your current schools, you most likely use the SSS application. Some schools use fax or other different applications, but it's very similar. There is a fee to apply. I think it's $55, and you have to put the code in for school year abroad, and then the results get sent to us. So as long as you follow all of that information by our deadline of February 10th, we will receive it, and we will be in communication with you regarding whether or not you qualify, and if you qualify, and if you get admission, that sort of thing. The second piece of financial support that we have for our students that we encourage folks to consider and apply, and they're listed on our website, and I'll go through them later this evening, are a series of merit scholarships. Some of those are need-based, and when we say need-based, we mean parents must demonstrate financial need through the SSS application, which is the online application for financial aid. But some of our merit scholarships do not require a demonstration of financial need. And a couple, as I'll take you through, will require some additional application pieces. Many do not, and you were just notified at your time of admission if you will receive one of the merit scholarships. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go over the sort of instructions on how to apply for aid. Donna's going to take us through that, and then I'll talk us through the merit scholarship opportunities, and then we will transition to our chat box and questions. In the meantime, if you do have questions, feel free to put them in there so you don't forget, and then we'll get to them at the end. Thanks. Donna?
Great. Thanks, Rachel. Hello, everyone. Before we talk about the financial aid application process, I just would like to start by reviewing what is actually covered in the cost of tuition. So there are a bunch of things included. We're going to start with 6 academic classes. School travel is included. Meals and accommodations on school travel, co-curricular activities, all meals and accommodations with the host family for the duration of the program are covered. And every student will also receive a monthly pass for public transportation so that they can get to and from school, to their co-curricular activities, and as well as get to their activities on the weekends and in their free time. What's not included, one of the largest expenses, would be the round trip airfare to and from the host country, as well as a couple of smaller expenses. Those would be personal spending money, and that can be determined by you as a family, and the visa application fees, which range from about $60 to $160, depending on the country. So the steps for financial aid can all be found on our website. And I'm going to share my screen now and take you through those steps. So give me just one moment. Here we are. And so we're going to go here to the admissions tab. And then we will navigate to tuition and aid here. And you're going to go to financial aid tab here. So the first thing, and most importantly, is that you're going to go to the SSA, which stands for Student Services.
School and Student Services.
Student Services. Got a little tongue twisted there. School and Services, Student Services. And we're going to click on this link. Hold on. There we go. So if you already have an account set up, and if you attend an independent school, it's likely that you already do, and you already have applied for financial aid. You will go there and you're going to put in school year abroad once you log in, and then you're going to put in our code, which is, the code here for you, which is 7216. All of this information can be found on the Q&A in our website, so you don't need to worry about remembering that. And if you don't have an account already, you're going to create one here. So you'll just click on here, and that's going to, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And that will take you to where you're going to fill out the PFS, which is the Parent Financial Statement. So in filling that out, what they're going to ask you to do is provide some documentation. You're going to put in some numbers there and upload some documents. That's going to show some more, a little bit more than just what your income is excuse me. So there you're going to click on a second step if you are not, skipping a step here. You're going to be asked to put in your 2021 tax return. If you do not have it ready, which many may not by our deadline of February 10th, that's okay. And if you do not, you can put in your 2020 tax return and your W-2s, your current W-2s. So those will be acceptable. If this is something that you're going to do, if you need to go this route, we're also going to ask you to fill out the 4506T, which is an IRS form. And what this basically does is it just allows us to request a copy of your tax return from the IRS, should we need it. So just so you know, going through the PFS, it is a little bit lengthy. There is a tab there where you can save and return later, which I found very handy. So you might want to use that option too. But that is, so you're going to fill out the PFS if you need be, upload your tax return, and if needed, you're going to fill out that additional IRS form 4506 and return it to our office. But most importantly, we want you to complete all these steps by February 10th. That is our deadline. So just keep that in mind as you're completing all of these forms. Rachel?
Great, thank you, Donna. So some of you are probably thinking, is it worth it to apply for financial aid? Will I qualify? How do I know if I'll qualify? We do have some basic information on our website about things like that, but honestly, generally, we tell families if you're not sure, go ahead and apply. You just don't know. The formula, for those of you who are new to the SSS application, the formula takes in lots of pieces of information into account. How many children you have in tuition charging schools. They ask you, your weekly groceries and utility bills and what kind of cars you drive, and lots of information. And we do look at that very carefully. And while we do use SSS very much as a guide, we do look at all that information as well. And so we really encourage you, if you're on the fence about applying, to just go ahead and submit an application, because that's just helpful information for us too. And you just don't know. It's very, very possible that you will qualify for some financial aid. So I think that's probably one of the bigger questions on people's minds. So that's financial aid. Almost half of our student body is on some form of financial, receives some sort of grant. We're very, very fortunate that we have a very generous financial aid budget. Again, unfortunately, we do not have, you know, everyone who applies for aid, we're not able to meet the need of, but we do have a very large number of students that we're able to offer grants to, and we're really happy about that. Really pleased with that. And those grants, as you see from our pieces on the website, range everywhere from a very small grant of a few $1,000s up to almost a full tuition. So I'm going to take you through the merit scholarships that we have now. And again, these are all listed on the website and instructions are there, but it's worth sort of highlighting them for you because this is a program that really complements our financial aid program, trying to provide increased accessibility to an SYA education. We acknowledge that this is a significant amount of money to pay for a year of high school. However, obviously we think it's worth it, and the students that go on the program do as well. So we want to do everything we can to make sure you're able to provide access to your child. I've been interviewing a lot of parents so far this fall of sophomores and some people who've requested an optional interview, and it's just, I'm reminded constantly of how this whole process happens. Typically a student comes home and shares with their family that the student that they saw a presentation and they desperately want to go. And many parents are left, this sounds great, but it's a lot more money, A, than we're paying our current school, or B, you know, you're enrolled in a public school. We have many students from public schools, and it's tuition, and we don't pay tuition right now. So that's a big leap for a lot of families. So again, between our financial aid program and our merit scholarship program, we're doing everything we can to kind of increase access to everyone. So the merit scholarships. The first one is our largest merit scholarship, and it's the Halsey Fund, named after Woodruff Halsey, who was the longtime president of School Year Abroad for many, many years. And that is actually, we have one of those scholarships, and it is a full tuition plus airfare. There are specific instructions on how to apply for the Halsey, and you need to let us know at the time of application if you are planning to apply. You also need to apply for financial aid, and you need to demonstrate need. So you do need to, families do need to have some significant financial need in order to qualify for this scholarship. There are 3 finalists, and we do brief interviews with them, and then we alert the winning recipient at the time of admission and the end of the first week of March. Our second merit scholarships that are listed on the website are what we call the Alvarez Global Scholarship Scholars, and we have 2 of those. Those are significant awards as well. And families do need to qualify and have some demonstrated financial need. And those students typically come from public schools. So those are scholarships that you do not need to submit additional materials like you do for the Halsey. The Halsey, there's an additional essay. You do not need to for the Alvarez Global Scholarship. If you meet the criteria, we will consider you as part of the process. The third are the SYA Merit Scholarships. And those are scholarships that recognize students with exceptional academic ability, co-curricular engagement, and a curiosity for global study. We do have 1 merit scholarship for each country. And semester applicants are welcome to apply for the merit scholarships as well. These are full year scholarships are $25,000, and semester scholarships are $12,500. You do need to submit an additional letter of recommendation from a coach or a mentor or a club advisor, just someone who knows the applicant better than in a different capacity than a teacher, and can kind of speak to some of the qualities that we're looking for in the scholarship. But we do have one of those for each of the countries, and those are quite popular and lots of people apply for those. All of those deadlines are February 10th. The other two scholarships that we have do not require any supplemental materials. And again, if you meet the criteria, you will be considered. But SYA Legacy scholarships, our students, the students applicants who are considered are those who are related to an SYA alum. Those awards are $10,000. And again, if someone's applying for the semester, it's a $5,000 award. And applicants are notified of that information at the time of admissions decisions. And then finally, we have our 1964 scholarships, and those are just awarded to a limited number of exceptional students, demonstrating strong academic ability, commitment to their communities and a passion for exploring other cultures. Those are things that we look at in the admissions process, but certainly in these merit scholarships, we're looking for that real strengths to come through in their application. Those scholarships have varying amounts, anywhere from sort of $1,000 to $15,000. There's not one set number. And again, recipients of those scholarships will be notified at the time of admissions decisions. When our admissions decisions go out, so long as you've met the application deadline and the financial aid application deadline, you will be notified if you have received financial aid, and you will also receive an enrollment contract, and that enrollment contract will reflect any financial aid award that you have been granted. If you have questions, so Donna Fitzgerald is our Associate Director of Admissions and Financial Aid, and she'll be sort of your point person through this whole application process. But you can also talk to your Assistant Director of Admission. They have some information, and I'm happy to chat with you as well if you have specific questions or concerns about the process. And then once you've received your information regarding financial aid, if you have questions, we're here to answer them for you as well.
And I'll put my email in the chat too, so if anyone has any
great,
questions.
thanks, Donna. And so when information does go out, when the contracts and financial aid awards do go out, folks have about 3 weeks to make a decision. Again, there'll be opportunities, there'll be more webinars and opportunities to meet students online and things like that to help you make a decision. But certainly if you are awarded a financial aid, you will be held to making a decision by the due date, which is Friday, March 25th, so long as you receive an award at the time of decision. For those who are applying for financial aid from our member schools, the process is a little bit different. And if you're attending one of our member schools, we partner with the member schools on that, and the timing around your award decision could be after our admissions decisions go out. It depends on the communication that we have with your sending school. So if you have specific questions on that, again, you can reach out to Donna, but you just have to sort of be a little bit patient on that one because we have to work with the homeschool to work on what the financial aid package looks like before we can get you an enrollment contract. So that really kind of wraps up sort of the nuts and bolts of what we had to share with you regarding our financial aid application process, and as well as the merit scholarship process. I'm going to go now to the chat box and see if there are some questions, which it looks like there are.
We have a couple in the Q&A and we have one in the chat, Rachel. So
okay. So if you already have an SSS application in the process, will this one take you to a new application once you enter the code? No, it should be the same. Just it's almost like the SAT test. Where do you want your scores sent? You can put in our code, and that information should come to us no problem. You
just
can
add
your tax returns into the SSS application. and they're all very secure, and highly recommend that's the direction you go in. Are there any of the scholarships you mentioned available for the SYA summer applicants? Okay, so SYA summer, we do not have any merit scholarships available for SYA summer. We do offer limited financial aid for our summer programs. You are welcome to apply. The financial aid, however, that we offer for our summer programs is a maximum of 50% of the tuition. So when I say for the year-long applications, if we're able to grant you admission, and we will meet 100% of your need. Unfortunately, our summer program, our policy is only up to 50% of the tuition. But we do have financial aid for summer, and we encourage you to apply if you're interested. However, there are no merit scholarships for summer programs.
There's a question about should we apply for financial aid before admissions? Apply at the same time. The deadline is the same, February 10th. So as you're working on your application, you should also be completing the financial aid application as well. Let's see, there are two different places here. Let's see.
Financial aid deadline is February 10th.
Yes.
Same deadline as the application deadline.
Yeah, some of the scholarships cover travel costs, correct? Is a question here. The Halsey scholarship does cover round trip travel. But as I mentioned, included with your tuition would be travel throughout the host country when their students are traveling with the program, with the school.
Yeah, any school sponsored travel, everything is included. Transportation, hotel, meals. But students are responsible for getting themselves over to the country. We arrange different flights that you can take so students can travel together. And that airfare typically runs between $1,000 and $1,500. $1,200 or $1,300 is the typical price. And we fly on, major airlines, and we recommend that you, but if you have miles and you want to travel on those, that's fine too. We just need to you need to arrive at a certain date and time, that's all.
Mm-hmm. There's a question here from a parent who has a son at one of our member schools and is wondering how to begin the process, if there are any major steps or extra essays. No, there are not. You just apply as you normally would, and we do partner with these schools when working with financial aid. So, but you're going to do everything the same as you would, except when you do work on that, the SSS application, you're going to want to add our code as well as your homeschool.
And I would recommend letting your director of financial aid at your homeschool know that you're applying, if you're applying from a member school too, that you're applying to SYA.
And usually the coordinator at your school knows that you're applying, but they don't necessarily know that you're applying for financial aid. So you should let your director of financial aid know.
Only about, just a note on sort of students that come from our member schools versus our non-member schools. Only about 40% of our student body comes from member schools. So an overwhelming majority of students come from non-member schools. And they also, that population typically receives close to 50% of that population is receiving some form of financial aid directly from SYA. I just want to be clear that, we have sort of students coming from member schools and non-member schools, and the financial aid distribution is even across that whole population.
We have another question here, Rachel. How do you apply for the 1964 scholarship?
There's no need to apply for those. We look at, some of the outstanding kids and sort of how they've put forward in their application and let us know how much they want this and what a strong student they are and what a strong, and so really all students are considered for those scholarships, honestly. Mm-hmm. No required additional information.
Let's see. How do I find out if my school is a member school? We do have a list on our website, but you would likely know.
Yeah, there is a list on the website, but again, like I said, an overwhelming majority of our students apply from non-member schools. So, and in which case the financial aid process is very straightforward. You just apply directly to SYA and we communicate with you directly regarding a decision.
And let's see, we've got a few more here. 216, we have what, I'm just gonna, let's see. Someone asked about the code, our SSS code, which is 7216. That's also on the website too, on our financial aid website page. So if you forget and you want to go back to look for that.
Donna, have you read this question? If we get accepted and still cannot pay the tuition, even with the financial aid, is there anything else we could do to help? There is some information on our website through NAIS, the National Association of Independent Schools, regarding some loan information. If you're interested in going that direction, we've had students run bake sales and ask grandparents for contributions and all sorts of things. I think the challenge is if a family, they feel as though they need a grant of X, but they only qualify for a grant of Y. And there's a disparity between that, and that can be a challenging situation. But again, if the formula alerts us that you qualify for a certain amount and we are able to grant you aid, we will meet that. So, but again, for those students who the award does not feel sufficient in order to make it happen, even though that's what the formula says, again, students have gone out and done fundraising opportunities and or loans, which you can find out more information through the NAIS website and is on our website.
Yeah, and there's also a link to the SSS website that has some outside organizations that some of them go by state. And there are certain criteria to be met there, but they are on our website, and you can click on that too, and it'll bring you to a whole page of organizations that offer grants. We do have a question about, and I'm going to say, come to our receptions next week too, but what are the host countries? It's not necessarily a financial aid question. What are the host countries? Can you talk about the host family? And do they actually have a school in these countries? And can you elaborate a bit on that? So we do have schools in France, Italy, and Spain. Students live with the host family. I'll just quickly go through this because we're going to talk more about that next week. We encourage you to join those webinars as well. But we do have our own schools in each country. So students will live with the host family that we carefully match your child up with, and they will attend our school with local and US faculty in each host country. So there are schools, but we do have 3 webinars next week, and I'd love to have you join those to get a little bit more information, as well as connect with your assistant director of admission. If someone hasn't reached out to you, reach out to me, and we'll put you in touch with someone that you could have a phone call with, or I'd be happy to chat with you too. Okay. Our admissions need blind, Rachel. Do you want to take that?
You know, very, very few organizations, they're Harvard and is able to have a need blind admissions policy. We do not have a need blind admissions policy. If we're able to offer you admission and you qualify for aid, we will meet your need. If you are qualified for admission and we're not able to meet your need, you will be placed on a wait list. And we will, depending on if the students who are awarded financial aid accept those offers or not, if people decline the offer, and sometimes they do, and that money is returned to our budget, we will sometimes go to our wait list and offer financial aid to those students if they qualify. So while we would love to be in a position to be need blind, unfortunately, we are very, very proud of our generous financial aid policies and budget, but it is not need blind.
Okay. Can students from member schools still apply for merit scholarships? Yes, they can. You mentioned that we can submit the PFS using the 2020 return and upload W-2 forms for 2021 and a form 4506 if we aren't able to submit our taxes for 2021 before February 10th. Just want to confirm, yes, that is correct. You have that all right. That's exactly it. Let's see. Did you already get this? I don't know if you answered this one, Rachel. Is the Alvarez Scholarship available only to public school students, or can private school students also apply? That one's just...
You don't actually have to apply. You'll be considered, and it is actually for public school students. It's a donor who endowed this, who wants to create, greater diversity amongst our student body. And the public school students represent, depending on the year, anywhere from 10 to 25% of our population. And we're always happy to have students from a wide range of schools to apply to. So that actually is for students coming from public schools. There is a question here. Is there any consideration for semester students whose schools at home require them to pay more than half the tuition? Not necessarily. The SSS formula is not going to take that into account, but we do encourage you to reach out and share that information with us. Share everything you can with us in your financial aid application. There's a big square at the end where you can put in, other considerations or other information, and share everything you can with us. Again, perceived need can sometimes be different than the actual need, but we do want to understand what you're thinking and feeling, and that's really important. So I encourage you to share that kind of information with us. It's helpful as we're reviewing applications.
Oh, is the 1964 scholarship only for those students demonstrating financial need? And
No, it's not. No, every student who applies is considered for those scholarships.
I'm going to, and I see a question here that they couldn't see my email, so I'm going to put it in here. I think sometimes things get knocked out. The questions. I'm going to put it in.
And I see a question here. If you've already started an application, can you apply for financial aid? Of course. You can apply for financial aid anytime before February 10th. If you started or even completed your application, it's a separate process, a separate website and everything. So, and I can't reiterate enough how much I encourage everyone, if you are on the fence and you're not sure if you're going to qualify, and there's no guarantee, but fill out the application and share the information with us. We want to hear from you. If you want to talk through it with us before you decide to, but my feeling is you won't know unless you try.
Okay. I'm scrolling through these. Going through the Q&A and the chat box. We have questions in both, so let's.
I think we've got them all in the chat. Let's see.
Okay. Let's go.
Yeah. I think we're good. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, this has been a great evening. I've had some excellent questions, and we really appreciate everyone's attendance. I know it's getting later, and some people need to get off to dinner, so we don't want to keep you forever. But again, I can't reiterate how we are available to talk at any time. Donna, myself, other folks on the team. This is about, we want people to be interested and apply to SYA, and this whole program is about trying to increase access to that. Doesn't mean, again, that we're able to meet the need of everyone, but we do our best. And we're really proud of the number of students we have on financial aid and what we're able to do and what that does for our student body. So we're thrilled you're here and considering applying and going through the process. And we look forward to working with you through it.
We do have one last question, Rachel. What is the acceptance rate to SYA?
It's a complicated question. It goes, it's a very self-selected group of kids. We do not have thousands and thousands of applications. It's roughly, depending on the country, Spain is the most competitive, followed by France, and then Italy, number 3 in terms of level of competitiveness. But so if you have a first and second choice, we encourage you to If you have a second choice country, let us know. So we don't, I mean, acceptance rate 1 out of every 2, if we had to sort of say, but it's, again, it's a very self-selected group of students and really encourage, you know, to apply. And for those that are, you know, great students and really want to go, we're really happy to read those applications.
I think we have all of them now. I did re-enter my email again, so hopefully you can see that. If not, go to the website. You'll see pictures of all of us, all of our smiling faces, and our emails are down below. So you can find us on Meet Our Team. And thanks so much for joining us, everyone.
Thank you all very much.
Send any
Look
additional
forward
questions.
to working with you through the process. And as Donna said, we hope to see you in our receptions next week. They're at 3 o'clock next week. France is 3 o'clock on Tuesday, or Spain is 3 o'clock on Tuesday. France is 3 o'clock on Thursday, and Italy's 3 o'clock on Friday. We will have our resident directors present, as well as students, current students. That's why they're at 3 o'clock, because it's 9 o'clock over there. They'll be live. We'll have parents on there as well. And we really encourage you to come, and you can register on our website if you haven't done so yet. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.